Here to visit him with another candidate. And next is David Kohn joining us here. Good morning. Thanks for making the stop in.
Good morning, Brad. Thanks for having us.
You bet. Well, let's talk a little bit first, give you an opportunity to just address just an opening statement about who you are, your background for the voters.
Okay. I'm from Bondwell. I went to school at St. Paul Lutheran. I graduated in Bondwell in '97. So that makes me 43. Makes me the oldest one out of the six of us, which I think is pretty. It shows that there's a lot of youth coming up behind us, which is a good thing. It's good to see young people get involved in politics. I went off to the military after high school, so that makes me the only military vet also running. I look at things a little differently than people who aren't military veterans do. So I hope that carries a little bit of weight with moving forward here. I drove semi for 19 years. I've traveled the country. I got a lot of life experience behind me. I went to school for law enforcement. I was a volunteer firefighter for Bondwell. I was an EMT at New London. I'm recently just moved to Seymour now, and I'm going to join the volunteer fire department in Seymour. So I run a veterans organization where I give back by taking vets hunting, fishing, hiking, biking, you name it. We supply service dogs to those veterans and first responders with PTSD, and the goal behind that is prevent suicides, saving lives as many as we can. And then I'm a small business owner. I transport dogs and cats all over the country. So.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about why you're running for this seat.
Well, it's pretty simple. You can sit down and complain about things and be unhappy about how things are going, or you can stand up and do something. I made the decision 2 years ago that when I got word from Gary that he was going to retire, that I was going to run. I think having that military background, it makes me a fighter. It makes me somebody who's not afraid to speak out for the injustices that are going on, and I'm not afraid to be outspoken. My mouth has probably gotten me in trouble in the past. I'm finally mature enough now where I can use that in a good way.
Tell me about your top three priorities when it comes to running in this seat, what you're looking at accomplishing.
Okay, number one, of course, is mental health. I think we need to have more accessibility to mental health clinics, more mental health professionals. So I'd like to see the state set some budget aside to accommodate that. Number two, big thing I'm hearing from people in the fire department area is that there's a lack of firefighters for the volunteer departments. A lot of them are operating under their minimum standards. And a big reason for that is the amount of time that goes into training. They're juggling family, they're juggling work, and all the training that's required. I think we can work with the state, with the tech colleges, and we can look at another certification process where we can split that volunteer certification up with the full-time certification, just to get these numbers up for the volunteer department so they can at least operate. And number three, it's probably inflation. It's gas prices. It's everyday cost of living. We all know it's skyrocketing so bad. I think at the state level, of course, that's all controlled pretty much by the federal government and the federal policies that are put in by the presidential administration. But at the state level, I'd like to see Rebecca Clayfish has announced that she wants to see a deduction, or even eliminating the state income tax. I would agree with that. I think that's a good idea. I'd also look at ways where we can get rid of the state gas tax. I'd be in favor of putting in toll roads along Illinois and Minnesota. I think that would offset the cost of the state gas tax.
All right. We're asking each candidate to explain why they feel they're the best out of the six candidates that are running. A lot of decisions to be made, a lot to choose from. What makes you stand out among the other five?
Well, that's kind of the question that, all six of us have the same conservative viewpoints, I believe. What separates myself from the other six, or the other five, like I said, I'm the only military vet. I have that I went to school for law enforcement. I have the EMT background, the firefighter background, so the EMS services are big with me. I'm about giving back to the community. My organization, I've taken those 3 a.m. phone calls of veterans wanting to commit suicide, and the willingness to fight for people, to fight for what's right, to stand up for those that can't stand up for themselves. There's a lot of passion that goes in behind me. I'm not afraid to stand up and say something. There's some personal stories that I won't get into on the air, but when I go door to door, I don't have anybody else knocking doors for me. This is all on me. So I'm the one making the face-to-face communication. And when I explain those stories that I have, that what really drives the passion behind me, people get it. They know that they can relate with me. They know that I'm doing this for the right reason.
All right, finally then, ag, manufacturing, and tourism, those are the 3 big drivers in the state of Wisconsin economically. Where do you stand on those 3 as far as importance?
I grew up working on family farms. I'm a big small business owner. I'm a big supporter of small business. Shawano County, Outagamie County, this district is about small family farms up until, the last 20 years, which sadly they're going away. Farmland's getting turned over into corporate farms, and 80% of what corporate farms produce goes for feeding livestock. It's not even for personal, human use. It can't really fight that. I'd like to see more family farms stick around. I think that's our Wisconsin values. I miss working on a farm. I loved it as a kid. Industry, I think Shawano's got great industry. We got a lot of opportunity for more. I think there's some housing issues that are here in the area that could be addressed to get more people to move here to work in the industries. Tourism, I think Wisconsin needs to be more involved in tourism. I think our tourism budget should be explored and try to make more off of the tourism in Wisconsin.
All right, that's David Kohn joining us here, a candidate for 6th Assembly District. Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck in the election.
Thank you, Brett.
We'll have another candidate when we come back. You're listening to the 6th District Assembly Forum on WTCH.